Your life.
You are now live, George. Your mic is muted.
The viewership should appear here, right?
George, we are live.
You're live, George. Continue. You're live, George. Continue.
Okay. Welcome everyone to this beautiful platform. Today, Men's Conference, we're bringing this so-called Men's Conference to a greater use. This is Bay Waves Radio that you are listening and watching. And then I go by the name George. George is my name, and I'm not alone. And I have Cecil and I have Lotanang. So I'm gonna be your host for today, and you have Cecil, who's the co-host, and Lotanang as the guest. So I'm just gonna allow them what about they introduce right? Let me start with you, the co-host.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Cecil over here. I am the co-host of today. And yeah, Cecil, I've been here, I'm still here, and I am excited to having this discussion with you. Over to you, Latana.
This is your favorite photographer coming to you live here with this snap. I go by the name Lotanang. That's my ID name. Marawan sa market now with this snap. The Kapadia himself, your favorite photographer. Except.
Sure, bro, Lotanang. Kailan na le chela mato wasari mo ay garine.
I wish it was that easy.
What Walagale, now one Walagale, never the photographer there, city photographer there. Keneto.
No, it's not true, because if you could check the stats, it's difficult to approach a woman these days if you don't have substance. So
yeah, I know. Thank you. I just hope the audience is listening, but all of the saying. So back to the show, we're gonna be talking about something that is seldomly been spoken about. It is a very crucial conversation. We're gonna be focusing on men's mental health and gender-based violence. So the first hour, it's 7:10 right now. So for the remaining 50 minutes, we're gonna be talking about men's mental health, because we know like there's a lot of men that are going through some stuff, but then there's a barrier, it has been said by the system or the world that doesn't allow men to actually have to express themselves and get to talk about these issues that they're going through. So we're just gonna ask actually, what is mental health, and what is poor mental health, and also what is good mental health. And Cecil, my brother, like based on the question, like what's your take? How can you just break this down? Because I can just simply say, it's something that is not spoken about for sure. Like we just never talk about it. So like my co-host, can you just say something based on that?
Mental health, yes, Christ. Well, I think good mental health would have to do with someone who, well, if I'm to put it in, normal sense, in
Yeah.
layman terms. And then bad mental health is someone who has a lot of issues. It's either mental health issues, which may be your ADHD, your depression, your anxiety,
Yeah.
and your bipolar, your personality disorders, and all these. I would assume they fall under bad, having bad mental health. Yes, having bad mental health.
Yeah. Yeah.
And good would be, someone who is sorted, mentally strong, who exercises, who eats right, who takes care of their mental health. Or yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very correct. Mr. Senep, can you also just get to break it down for us? Because, when where we come from, it's something that is totally being ignored, and the result of it is really, having to see Majita, having, and sometimes you could see or this thing, it really does exist, but then for the mere fact that we doesn't get to talk about it, it just completely gets to destroy the youth of our communities. And these are the leaders, man. These are people who have dreams. These are people who have potential to try to achieve something in life, and just to try to make sure Africa will like what can you say about this topic, Mr. Lotana?
Honestly, like Cecil has mentioned, Lori, mental health has to do with your anxiety, your bipolar, your depression, your schizophrenia. Like there's a lot, your panic attacks and what's not.
Yeah.
And more you would find one saying, not right? But at the same time, that human being has once been in a situation where they were either heartbroken or they went through some sort of seclusion in life. And because define your mental health, it's just your cognitive, behavioral, emotional well-being. So if they're not well aligned, that means you are in the negative part of it. And it's not always where you find one who's always in the positive. Obviously, we are human beings, we rotate. There's no way in which one always be consistent with the way they're living their life. So yeah,
Yeah, we will always we will wait till us home. Maria got so yeah, but then how you explained it, it's like from the co-host also, it's just the way it is, man. And I'd like us to focus mainly on the negative side of it, because we're trying to seek for problems and try to find solutions to those problems. And yes, we are not professionals, right? But then there's always a way that we can always try to guide each other to try to resolve these things. Because hey, I can tell you, or on a level 12, or you can see, or my guy, it's absent from the world, and it's not really right, or and just not do anything about it. And yet you refer to yourself as someone who's trying to change the world to be a better place. Because we were talking about ourselves, the people who are going to change the future generation. It's only us, and we cannot truly change the world or fix the world if we ourselves, we are still damaged. Like, we need to start with ourselves. We need to make sure that we fix our mental health. We are mentally ready and mentally sharp in order to make sure that we fix this cloud that young black men are suffocating in. Because hey, I don't want to lie, because there's a wide range to this thing, right? You can have either mental health with relation to relationships, mental health with relation to family issues, workspace issues, and also just the society that you grow up in also can also have an impact. and also your childhood, how you were raised. Some like we know some people we don't come from, you know, families that you can really refer to as a proper environment to raise a child, and those kind of things get to affect you, and as you go they'll get to show up one. So Artoming guy the relationship, guys. This one is very interesting. It's pretty much interesting, this one. Like I love it, the dramatic, the dynamics of it, like drama on. It's just very interesting. Like Cecil, touch bases on that, my guy. Like what do you have to say? Like we do suffer as Majita mentally, because one moment that I was see I want a lot of shit in a baby or poster. The next thing I was a poster.
Like
No
photo
TV show.
shoot.
Yeah, like the thing or what TV show. I'll say the relationship as Majita. Sometimes you get to be so comfortable enough such that you can even get to tell Majita or Majita I get your mama and I want a poster. The next thing I was a poster. I was a watch. The next thing you're isolating yourself like. Tinsang, let's talk about these things. Cecil, please touch bases on that, my guy.
Ish, Mujolo, man. Mujolo. Yeah. Yes, yes. I mean, for one, ish, as men, we enter into relationships all excited and we enjoying ourselves in it. But then we forgetting that we have a lot of problems, like a lot. For one, it might be, I like what, who's this? Dr. Warren Farrell. What Dr. Warren Farrell said. He said something along the lines that boys fall behind in their mental, physical, and physiological health. Right?
Yeah.
Their failure to perform leads to rejection, and they end up bitter and resentful. Addicted to video games, porn, and drugs, which is so true. Because Bashimane Renele translator
yeah, I think it's a free correct.
And then once we get rejected or in a relationship now at the start of my house, we do what any other guy does. We get reserved, like you were saying. I suppose. I very really Majita it's all over to study situation. But oh yeah. That's how we were doing. I suppose that so we become resentful and then we start we don't take care of our mental health anymore. And it's just a downward hill from that point on. So yeah, I'm not much into Mojolo and Na. So the negative side of it I'm not seeing as much. But I'd assume as the photographer would want to go our
Yeah, okay. Let me go to Mr. Lotanang. After Lotanang, we're gonna take questions from the comment section. Let me just make sure not to forget this. We have a ghost person in here who will be going through our comments. Mr. Kenneth, I see your hand is up. You are highly acknowledged, my guy. Let's just get you give Mr. Lotanang to voice his thought on this one. Then we're gonna come to you.
When coming to Mujolo, they often say that Mujolo is a scam. It involves a lot of things in it. Okay, you don't mention one by one. I don't know, you break it down. One, there is always the talking face. You be like, not this is what I'm offering to the table. Maybe you're bringing in financial freedom, when you're bringing some sort of lifestyle and what's not. Right? And then sister watching. It's no longer about what we've been through, the talking phase. It's totally negative. So now that it impacts you in a bad way. It's not only that, but the social economic factors, conditions, Mujolwa these days requires money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter get guy. And with money, it comes in lifestyle choices. Because obviously, you can't say to me, or when you're an ice cream person, you prefer burgers and what's not, or you prefer picnics. Can I imagine first of all, wish a guy picnic? You get that? So that's where choices come in hand. And when you say when you prefer going out to movies, go wish a guy cinema around Gene first. It's another problem on its own. Unless if you are on PTA and we have the money to go there, right? Now it's not going to be a problem. So it's not only that, but your biological factors. Baba, this mental health issue, it's genetical. It's within the family. It's hereditary. So I don't know how to change.
Okay.
Like you mentioned earlier on, in a proper family, like you had mentioned. So that one also it's a factor. And the last one, with the social conditions.
Yeah.
It's way beyond our control now because we do not have the power to change that.
Okay, ergo level, like you really did break it down before I could really go to it, and I appreciate it. Mr. Kenneth, let's come to you and let's hear what you have for us.
Good evening to our beautiful viewers and listeners at home. We have a comment here from Happiness Ranto. She's saying that our men need to stop generalizing when answering. We know what mental health is. We are here to find out what it means to them as them. A personal definition, maybe with a dash of their real life stories. It's what they need. And again, we have another comment from Happiness Rancho. She's saying that I'm glad you guys touched on relationship matters. I'd like to know how can I improve my men's mental health in a relationship? It's over to you.
Okay, thank you, Kenneth. The question one right? Here's what I have to say, right? As Majida, right? We've said this before. Did I say this? No, I don't think I've said this. Lotana, you mentioned something about social problems, like problems when it comes to social, and the major one is cultural stigmatization, guys, to say, right? Yeah. That chain has to come to an end because we like you one moment you are happy to end it, they can see or you are off, and yet you are not trying, you're not even willing to be open to them and just speak out to them your problems, because this thing okay yes being a man it's just a gender for me, right? Ole auti o jola le motho wa bona okay no a kena 20 rand or ga borotho o kwa reso tia ke stress mara you know that your girlfriend has it, right? And you don't get to say baby look like yeah sure the whole like guys say we should try to normalize that thing, right? And to question your happiness, how do you make your man to honestly open up to you when you could see or have a shop? I think there's only, okay, well, I'm thinking of a way or communication is the key to making each and every relationship work, right? You just need to simply make your man comfortable to say, you know what, sometimes you just need to go to them, baby, look, like it didn't sound, can you please just talk to me, right? And I think Leonard gonna give him comfort to say, okay, this is a place where I should really try to be comfortable and just open up about my problems, because it's not always, because I know it's hard. It's hard to open up to a person, and it's not only for men, but then it goes to it goes to all the human species. So yeah, that's how I see it. And I'm just gonna give you guys 2 minutes each to touch base on that, and let us just close the mental issue based on relationships, so that we can also move to other factors, so that we can really try to address these issues. And because the future needs you for rebuilding. Mr. Cecil, are go
Yes.
when the same for
What was the question again?
question ya happiness e bile gore what is it that girls can do to really get to have their men opening up about their mental health? Because I feel like, hence I've said it for me, it boils down to communication and having to make your partner to be comfortable. So yeah, that was the question.
Oh, so basically, how do you make them comfortable enough to talk about issues that affect them? I mean, if you're in a relationship, I believe that you should be able to talk about things that make them uncomfortable, right? If he can fart in front of you, so it should be, it should be easy for you to ask him any question. Other than that, then I don't know what type of relationship you guys have. But the major thing I would say is learn how to talk to them in a manner that doesn't make them uncomfortable, and also remind them that them having problems and not having solutions doesn't make them weak men. Because sometimes because we do not want to be perceived as weak. No man wants to be perceived as weak. So if you are able to just say, baby man, I can see your Rausha. What's wrong? Let's talk about these things. And then they will be able to talk to you, I think, from that point on. Like you said, communication is key. Another thing you should consider is whether that person trusts you enough to tell you the truth, because trust plays a major role as well. If they do not trust you, I do not believe they'll be able to tell you what the problem is, because the problem might not be in relation to your guys' relationship. It might be in relation to something that has been happening to them, or even worse, it might be in relation to sexual activities. And
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
yeah, trust.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Snap. What do you have to say about it?
From the first comment, we should stop generalizing. Remember that prior to giving your personal experience, you need to give people the definite way of what exactly is going on the outer shell before you go internal, right? So moving forward to the question of how can you improve your men's mental health? When it pains, you should cry.
Yeah.
And also, I often tell my friends and people that I've dated before that it's better to be friends before lovers, because remember, as guys, when things go tough, or when life goes rough, we always run to our friends. So imagine having a friend within your girlfriend, then you know very well, or when I'm uncomfortable, she's able to or change her from being a girlfriend to being my friend. So that's where the comfort level comes in hand, because now you'll be talking about things that which are not in relation with your relationship, but rather as friends. That's where that's how you be referring to one another. So I can tell like
yeah, I think you put it like we really like plain, because here's what girls need to understand. Like, you really need to distinguish if your relationship is something that your partner sees as something that they're gonna go with until the infinite future, or it's just the fact that what machita relationship ya go pushetša for the future, go na le relationship ya di-vibes. There's those kind of stuff. So girls just really need to be cognizant of those kind of things. You should, sometimes you need to sit down and lay out your way with your actually baby. Like, where are we going? Like, what are the goals that you have set out for us, right? So I feel like that's the better solution, to try to really get your men to open up about everything that is going through their mind. So yeah, it is 29 minutes before the hour 8, and you are listening to Bay Waves, and I am George. I am a host, and Nale, Cecil, and Mr. Seneb. So we are talking about mental health and gender-based violence, and currently we're still on the mental health, mainly on men. Because I've been doing some kind of research, and I've heard already there's 4 times more than women, men that gets to die from suicide. And this really gets to show how bad it is for men when it comes to having to try to handle this thing. Yeah. Now. And let's just put everything in one shelf and just get to talk about depression as a whole. Because Machita, we going through we're going through a lot of stuff, and we are unable to talk about these things, with, and of which I'm still okay. I'm trying to understand, or we through the cultural stigmatization that we were raised with, or thing. Some people just really don't really get to open up at all, to whether to their friends, to their family, or to their partner. Like, they just don't. They just try to deal with things by themselves, and like, you do not have the strength to control everything. You are a person. You, like, beyond being a man. You, and this thing thing, hey, nah, I give first time. Like, you are a person. Animal. You are not an animal. You are a person. So you should seek help. Talk to your friends, talk to a professional, talk to somebody with your problems. And like having to wake up and hear or someone is no more, and only to find out that they took their own lives. And honestly, you don't know why did they do that. And yeah, Mr. Cecil, can you just also try to come in on that? Because it's this is one big issue that we really need to find.
Before Cecil comes into this matter, can I just say there is a comment from Facebook from Prudence Lebohwete.
Yeah.
Yena are some banally ego. Ya go kopela help from basadi, so they do not want or some of their weak points.
Yeah.
So now to answer what Happiness has asked, I'll say that, and please stop pressurizing your hands.
Yeah.
If you see someone going to those fine restaurants, now don't bring it to your boyfriend if you know exactly that they are struggling. I think pressure is also one of the things that cages one into depression, or
okay, thank you, Kenneth, for that. I'll recognize you. I'll have to keep my eyes open on your hand. Sorry for not seeing the hand, but then like everything that you have said, it is true. Men do have ego, and men do get to receive a lot of pressure from the society. It may be your family, it may be your girlfriend, it may be the friends that you have also, but then it just boils down to you as a person to say how is truly your mindset. Because guys, you cannot go in a relationship and not be open about who you are and what you can do and what you cannot do, right? And le batswadi man le bona ba rata go fakela bana pressure. You go to o fetsa matric and they expect you in 4 years time you must be working and providing for them. And you have this girlfriend who expects you to buy them this Peruvian weave, of which they know very well that you do not afford. And Okay, hence I'm saying it boils down to your mindset, because some people get to be affected by all these things. So when GTI more than all of a sudden you get to isolate from them because you are no longer on the same level as them. Congratulate them, clap for them, and also get to hope one day you're gonna be there and just receive that. Like all these sort of energies can be converted into something positive, right? So I just want us guys to talk about that as Kenneth has mentioned. Mr. Cecil, can you just jump in real quick? What do you have on that specific matter? Like mainly focusing on gens having to be depressed, whether it's social or it's cultural or it's just friendship or relationship wise. Like, what's your take on that?
For one, I have a different view on this particular matter of depression. From the comment, they say some have ego to ask help from women because they don't want to be seen as weak. Well, it's twofold, I would say. I can't say it's totally true because, for one, confiding in women sometimes doesn't help. I mean, you need a man who will be able to understand, that type of problem, that even if it's in relationship wise or it's life or whatever, sometimes you just need a man who will understand. Because so I don't think that kitaba ego. I think kitaba relevance. Or will these people have the relevant advice for me? Or because that's what women mostly do, or the traditional women mostly do, is to provide that support. So, and then from my personal experience with depression, I do not find crying helpful. So I do not find crying helpful at all. I think it's a waste of time and energy and tears and sweat and yeah, for me it's very, 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 very pointless. I think that you should just go find help, do whatever works, but crying for me just doesn't work. I do not think that it helps at all. Man, involvement, we need more involvement from men, not from women. Advice needed from men, not from women. I prefer or depression, and then I go see a clinician or a psychiatrist or whatever. I prefer to find a man there. I don't know if I'm making sense to you, gents, but I really honestly prefer or another man advising me on issues that affect men. Because if you need depression, it's not just relationship or school or whatever. It has to do with those mainly elements that can't really talk about on air, but sure.
I mean, we can always find a way to say something, but then not say it in an obvious way. But then I just want you to think about this. Mr. Kenneth, jump in real quick. Kenneth?
Yeah, with regards to what Cecil has just said, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
With regards to what Cecil has just said right now, we have a comment here from Prudence Lebukwet. How they want to understand, because this is the main conference, so they want to understand. Here's the question from Prudence. How do you make men to open up to us? Because sometimes emotionally they are not there. They are detached and but prefer to and open up to their friends than girlfriend. Why are you guys not opening up to your girlfriends? What's wrong with that? That's what.
Okay, hey, basadi ba lwana guys, like they truly want to know, they truly want you guys to open up. I feel like it's the pretty much same question that Happiness got to ask, and we did get to say that it's just a matter of communication. Speak to your man, and if you, I personally, I feel like if you're dating someone and it has been that long enough, that is truly promising for something to, sustain for the future. If Ojola Lamoto and they do not open up for you, then what fundamentals do you have on the relationship? Because the basic fundamental of a relationship is communication, of which it means one of they are crossing it. So please communicate with your man. And Francis said, hey, wait, he can only speak to men, nothing less, nothing more. You just want to open up to men. How I feel about it, man, Kore, sometimes, you can find a friend in your partner. You can easily open about everything home to our, and it just I feel like I don't know if Umjolong or Osaya or but then I can tell you this, or there should be that one point in your life where you get to date someone who's just make you melt in everything. Everything wa bolela. Bana la hore a ona batho ba go seba go swana le batho ba go tsola.
Yeah.
You understand? So I feel like you're gonna get to that point and you're gonna come back and say, hey bras, ne ba po mana ne chula tawa jidi mola then I get so negative again. But then I can tell you it's not something that is based on sexuality right? I feel like you can always, there's people who have best friends and they talk about their sexual life with them. And it's just a matter of trying to be open-minded to it. The thing God we build different, right? But then just be a person who's open-minded to having to explore certain things. And who knows, they can work in your best interest. So yeah, Pasadi Realeka, and we are going to continuously try to resolve this thing. Awana mole monne ba re ngaleng ba re hetile ra ya ka kamoreng ra strong, and when we go to the streets we are fine, and that's what we encourage to say, man, if you have a certain emotion, please just express yourself. Mr. Lotana, may you please jump in, my guy, and just have you say.
Oh, I'm just gonna try to, I don't know, in a nutshell, from the first one that you spoke about of suicide. So Lena basically did my own research. So in accordance with africacheck.org, Russia and South Africa are the highest suicide, most especially when it gets to male suicide, and the highest respectively, meaning that Russia is number 1, South Africa is number 2. And while with their rates, just in 2021, around 37 men per 100 population and it's suicide, which is just 10 less than Basad. So meaning that women, it's like 27 out of 27 per 100,000. So according to Stats SA, we are 60,400,000, right? So out of the 60,405 level agenda stats, men are approximately 29 million. So that means plus 290 men commit suicide on a yearly basis, right? So where look at that, where look at the South African College of Applied Psychology, where the doctor or to consult, because only a stigma that which is out there, there is stereotype, there is also fear of an embarrassing disease or diagnosis, and lower in denial. So that's just the research. So personally, because Happiness had mentioned that they would love to know about our personal experiences, right? Number one disclaimer: I'd never been suicidal, but I've experienced such things like your anxiety, your mood disorders and depressions and what's not. So just to give a story, back when I was in matric, I used to feel this other beautiful chick, and we would see each other once a month. Up until the end of the year, I think in actual fact, it was 2 days from our first anniversary. That's when we broke up. Right.
Yeah.
So one of these what we call anxiety, depression, and what's not. So what had happened is that now varsity. Remember that in varsity you get to meet all the varieties of women: black,
Yeah.
white, thin, small, heavy, you name it.
Yeah.
So I would literally try to look for her in all of them. So that means Nekesa in a relationship. And I ended up saying to myself, you know what, this is not good for me psychologically, spiritually, and emotionally. So what do I do? So I tried to refrain from all of that. So I started creating relations in I used to have like a lot, like handful female best friends, because I figured that if I do not talk about this, it'll most probably affect me in the long run. So that's where Kikitlongo Araba, the questionnaire Prudence again. The only way that you could make your men to be open to you, it's if you make a comfort space for them to can be open with you.
Yeah.
And to just on a first statement on what Brasisol said, crying is not a waste of time. Crying actually helps psychologically, though at times it does change the situation that you find yourself in. You still find the very same in front of you, but it like will feel relieved thereof, right? And then a statement that trends indota must. Well, to be honest, indota will when they see potential too. I mean, if it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, just to try to we have about 12 minutes to wrap up the mental health issue. And yeah, I just want to say to Cecil, and you also just get to cover on what I'm going to say right now. I don't think there's any like you Ogasinola and get to say nothing happened to you. Like depression has to do with emotions, right? And crying is an expression of a certain emotion in your body. So if you get to cry whenever you feel like crying, do it. You like, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose, because that's how it's not how women grieve, but then it's a human thing that God has made for people to try to find grief in. If you feel like it, just do it. Like, you have nothing to lose. And I don't want to lie. Like I've seen myself on a couple occasions where I just say, my pillow, come here. Like, we need to have a conversation, and I just pour everything onto the pillow, and it helps, because for me, you get to do that. You go to the gens and you talk about it, make fun about it. It doesn't hurt how it used to hurt before. Yeah, you find some sense of comfort, some sense of hope, or things are going to be okay. And it unblocks your mind to think about what you can do to improve the situation. So keep an open mind to it, Cecil. Just try to cry sometime. If you feel like crying, just no, because right now you promoted that they are like you so just let it be. Let nature just be nature, man. Yeah. So, Mr. Cecil, I see you want to say something. Kenneth, your hand is recognized. I'm gonna come to you after Cecil, right? Yeah.
I do have to say something here. I need to step in
Yeah.
for the rest of us men who don't cry.
Hey. All right, Mr. Cecil. All right. One hour peluche tap.
So,
All right.
look, like I said, yeah, I don't look. For me, I think it's a waste of time, and I think other men would agree with me here. I think it's a waste of time because you cry, and then what? After crying, then what? So am I supposed to, at the end of the day tomorrow, I should go to my pillow and then cry again about the same issue? Tomorrow, cry again. Personally speaking, the last time I cried was at a funeral. Other than that, I do not recall myself crying because I have come to the realization that it does nothing for me. It makes me feel bad about myself, about my situation. My confidence goes down, and so I figured, why cry while you could take your phone and go on Google and search about this particular problem that you have and the solutions that you might have. For me, it's all about waking up and looking at how to solve the problem that you have. Once you have done that, you move forward. Yes, do whatever that works for you so that you remain sane. But crying, I do not agree with that. As for opening up, happiness and everyone in the comment section. If Mona open up to you, you should really evaluate whether you're in a relationship with this person alone or share because you confide in someone else. But if you want them to open up, you should also open up. And then Oscar open up, and then it's all about you and all that. Give them an opportunity to breathe, because sometimes we do need that moment alone, that moment of self-reflection before we can articulate it to the next person. Because remember, in a relationship, it's me as a man and you as a woman. And then some of the things, life is suffering. So there's always problems. And I can't tell you all those problems. Some of them I need to sit by myself and evaluate. And then if I can't have solutions, or if your man is not talking to you about the problem that they have, it means that they have engaged you at some point on a particular issue or a similar issue, and you did not give them the solution that they wanted or anything near a solution.
Okay, Mr.
So try being solution driven. And I'm just wrapping up. Coming to suicide. Man, yes, men. Currently, there's a rise in ADHD, and then men are committing suicide 6 times more than women. So, which is also concerning. And yeah, suicide is not a good thing, guys. Don't just give up on life. We don't know what's there after life. This earth, this is your heaven and your hell. So you get to choose. And yeah, that's about it. And I heard Mr. Lotanan talking about being afraid to consult at public institution or private or whatever. Maybe what we need in those public institutions is men on the forefront of it, so that we can just go there. It's simple. Because sometimes, especially in public institutions, it's very difficult. They ask questions that become very uncomfortable, and then they wanna ask ego, but really we are just uncomfortable to talk about it with you, because it's another way. The first thing that happens is you tell me about someone else's problem. So let me
all right, Mr. Cecil, what comment section Romela Masole. Mr. Kenneth, let's come to you in the comment section. Kenneth?
Yeah, people are very
Network is very bad.
Okay, let me just Mr. Kenneth, can I Mr. Kenneth?
So yeah.
Kenneth, ne kgopela go interrupt ganyane. Kenneth, ne kgopela go interrupt ganyane. Your network is being problematic.
Mr. Sinepe said when he paints, cry. So
Kenneth, we have a problem hearing you. I don't know.
Hello.
Yeah, when you get to start speaking, your network, so may you try to fix that, and yeah, we will come back to you. So yeah, Majens, we're still on this topic of men's mental health, and you still tuned into Baywaves Radio, where we're trying to build South African youth and just get to make them mentally ready to revive their own continent and the generations that get to come after them. So we have 3 minutes before we close in this topic, and guys, I just want to conclude this topic about hearing the behavior that you have noticed in men when they are being affected by this mental health problem. Because I've seen like there are a lot. There are a lot. We like Banna, they are the worst in trying to have to hide their problems, and it's just funny now for they are so transparent when they're going through stuff, because we see people taking substances, we see people drinking, we see people isolating themselves. We spoke about suicide. There's a lot of things that are happening, but then there's this major one of which is leading us to the next topic that we're going to talk about, of which is gender-based violence. There's these people who are affected by mental health, and they get to be controlling and abusive to their own partners, to their own children, and they just reckless in having to handle themselves because of what is eating them inside. So I don't know, guys. I've read already this almost like that's South Africa. It gets to say something about what's that number? It says each and every 4 hours in South Africa there's a woman that is dying, and it's mainly because of what we as men get to do, and it is something that is influenced. Of which I do not like to say this. Just because you're going through something, it does not make it right for you to act irrational and get to be as abusive and get to kill poor innocent women. It does not give you that. But then through many sources that we get to read from, it gets to say that there's a lot of men who gets to act this way because of the things that are in their brains. Because I could say this thing I don't follow for it. Because and like for me it's wrong. Like it doesn't happen. Whatever you what's that saying? When really your past doesn't define your future. Like truly doesn't. Because okay, recognized. Because I mean, but let's over and get to do all those nasty things. It's not because another problem in your mental health. Yes, you do have mental health problems, but then that does not give you the right to act in a certain way. The problem that you truly have is having to fix your mental state and get to be better people. That's the problem that you should really be talking about instead of to say, because that's one narrative that we should get to take out of our vocabulary. So, Mr. Cecil, I see you pretty much concerned, like you wanna go in, you wanna go in.
I've done some research on this issue in particular, whereby banna ba also good issue about abuse. They are mostly abusive, and it has some basis. Doctor, there's this, I'm gonna keep referring to him because he's so big in the field right now when it comes to the boy crisis, right? So what he basically says is that it is because of fatherlessness or the less involvement of a father in their lives that boys have now a crisis, which is why they are twice as likely to commit suicide, twice as likely to be addicted to drugs, twice as likely, or even 3 or 4 times as likely to not be able to, what do you call it, instant gratification. They always have that instant gratification, and those things are key factors in a successful life or attaining success. So if a man who is not raised right lifts his hand on a woman, it's mostly because of that reason. It exists in a little basis, like
Okay.
where the family is. You're cutting me again.
Sorry. You can proceed. You can proceed.
Yeah, so as I was saying, I reckon we cut short too much today. So yeah, it does have basis. Major thing that I wanted to say is it does have basis that because otherwise so they didn't have the opportunity to learn those morals.
Okay, fair point, but then let's just keep those views coming in. I don't see Mr. Kenneth's hand, but then anyway, I'm gonna go back to him because normally some technical issues. Mr. Lotana.
Yeah.
But Tata
GBV, ne? Before we can get into detail or our GBV king, I think we need to define because we tend to sideline men when it gets to GBV. Not in the sense of what's going on in SA, and what's not. But we should also keep in mind that also men are affected. It might not be the way women are affected, because it's even gruesome. Because GBV characteristics, you have your psychological violence, you have your stalking, you have your physical violence, sexual violence, which includes also rape, you have your female genital mutilation, sexual harassment, and others, right? So men are also affected or violated psychologically, and other men are also violated sexually, because we have cases men were affected. We also have cases men are affected right now, but we're not going to dwell on that. We are guys now. Now we just have to talk about us. What is the primary cause? It affects women so much more. These days, around 7. I'm not saying around 11, no, around 7 p.m. We have to talk about issues tse leng gore di affecta basadi mo e leng gore she feels uncomfortable to be in the same space le monna wa sa mo tsebeng. Okay, if we can code back with Africanism, under Africanism, we know that an individual's child, it's the community's child, right? So, ngwana wa ka lapeng ke ngwana wa community. Wa ile ka mkhoro go disitsweng ka ona in Africanism. But however, we have factors tse leng gore the circulate around the social well-being that which affects that Africanism code. Because okre le gore batswadi ba alo. So obviously re mama a elwa le mosadi wa ka next door. That affects that affects me as the boy child, because next time mtswadi wa ka next door a mpone ke dira tša tseleng tša go tswa tseleng, she'll be like, aye kwa. I mean, they are fighting, right? So that one also we need to keep in mind. So according to News 24, case rape, murder, domestic violence. This is the report issuing this year, which is in 2021, between April and June. So just between all those months, 5,760 people that which were murdered, and 98% of them gave aside. And then we also have 10,006 cases that which were reported and registered during that time. We also have 487 rape cases they're related to domestic violence. I mean, we have the most recent case mutilated and in a free.
Mr. Lotanan, sorry to disturb you. Let's try to generalize based on the stats, because I can see there's a lot of questions in the comment section, and Mr. Kenneth is also back. But then let me just give you a few minutes just to state your yeah. Thank you.
Before Mr. Lotanan can continue, there is a request from the comment section. We feel like you guys moved too soon from that topic, your mental health. They still don't understand why you guys don't open up. They still don't understand why you guys bottle things up. They still don't understand why you guys don't want to communicate with your girlfriends because you are in a relationship. If you are in a relationship with someone, you must be in that relationship with good intentions. So can we please redirect this?
Okay, Mr. Kenneth. Okay, I think we will have to speak with the executives. You know, I feel like time is flying, and you know, when you get to engage in these conversations, you just don't want to let go. Because, and I'm just really glad, or these people are so interactive. They just really trying to find out the answers of everything, because it shows how people are eager to try to find solutions that solutions to issues that are really trying to destroy our peers and the youth in general. We have about less than we have 50 minutes before we can, you know, wrap up the show. So I just want us to focus on the gender-based violence right now, and let me promise the people in the comment section that I will try to speak to the executive, Mr. Cecil. You're gonna back me up on this one, so that we can just have a full show where we're going to talk about this, because people are so much interested in having to talk about this. And we're gonna make, we should try to make it a mental health issue based on relationships, because I feel like that's where most people are looking at and trying to figure out answers. Mr. Kenneth, I see your hand is up. Can I just get you for a few minutes and get back to our conversation?
We can proceed.
We can proceed. Thank you very much. Guys, I just want to truly acknowledge your interaction. We really do enjoy you having to engage with us, and please make sure to share this platform with your friends on all your social medias. We are here each and every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Make sure that you engage with us. We are bay waves, guys. We're trying to fix the issues that we as the youth of South Africa of Africa, I mean to say, that we are facing.
Come again, your mic is off.
Yeah, Mr. Lolotanan, let's just wrap up what you were saying. Because but vale tabela mojola for isa wasere kata wasanya go itsogela so let's just continue GBV and we'll get
I just have a suggestion, right? Mr. Kenneth could like read through those questions, and then if the audience have asked the question that is related to me, then I can be able to jot it down. Then we can then focus on them towards the end. Back to what I was saying, right? GBV, it's quite broad. And as I had mentioned, or we have the most recent case where Msadi was found mutilated in a freeze. That is, according to me, that is evil. So I'd ask myself, what happened? Was it Jolo gone wrong that which influenced you to get to that point? Was it jealousy gone bad that which influenced you to get to that point? I really do not understand or what goes into your mind where you see, because these days, remember that they used to say to us, or redirection has been approved. Okay. They used to say, or rape is influenced by okay, if that is the case, then how do you go about or approach a Machekolo who's probably above 75 years of age and raping that Gogo? How do you go about raping an infant? What goes into your mind when you unzip your trousers and doing whatever it is that which you have in your mind? Those are questions still longer we should be asking ourselves, or as guys, what goes into your mind when you sexualize Mutom's side? What goes into your mind when you see a typical example says happiness because she's the only lady that which is within our meeting. When you sexualize says happiness, Jesus, what goes on into your mind? I mean, Fade, we do understand, or as guys, we sexualize women for sure, because upon approaching whoever the woman might be, there's always that thing you need to analyze inside you, or physical. You need to check or their physical attributes suit your criteria. We do that. But now, why do you have to go beyond that? I mean, why do you have to mention that she's a obile? You get that?
Yeah,
why
I get you.
So yeah,
okay, it's 14 minutes past the hour 8, and yeah, the executive they just communicated with us to say a redirection is approved. So back to Tawaya Mujolo. Got these people, they don't want to let this go, right? So we're gonna go back there, and hopefully, based on what Mr. Senepe just mentioned right now, I just really hope that we would have someone who's a professional next time when we get to talk about this conversation, just to come and truly explain to us as to what's really truly going on in the mind of a person when they get to do this horrible stuff. Mr. Kenneth?
Yeah, we have a comment here. These ladies, they feel like they are trying their best, but then us as men, we are not taking it. So we have a comment here from Happiness. She's saying, I think women are playing their part in making a safe space for these men to talk, but they still choose not to. So Bafetu, we are there. It's just that you guys who are not coming to the party, they are blaming it on us, guys. They are saying we're not coming to the party. We don't want to say anything. Again, we have a comment from Monakedi Tagato, are I understand the societal pressures, ne? But what exactly blocks men from being in touch with their emotions and communicate those emotions? Again, we have a comment from
Okay, let me just go to Lotanang while you go through that comment. I'm gonna come back to you after him. Mr. Lotanang, jump in very quick and just say your say on this.
Okay. Men are naturally technical. They think through things still longer women tend to say. So imagine that you're in a relationship and you find a lady that which tends to criticize you way more often than you expect. For instance, if she's expecting 500 rents and we're not like at 250, then she'll be like, it's not even enough. Right? So in us, it creates this shell, it disables us from being open with it. So when I said it should, like, women have to create a safe space for men. That meant even the longer you do talk about either when you're angry, either when you're happy, do think through about them, because Yarena, I feel because we tend to be technical about everything that which occurs in a relationship. That is why we tend to be open.
Okay, that's pretty much true. Like, Kenneth, can you just get to give us that last comment? Then we'll just have to, put our inputs here and there, and here where
no, let's proceed.
What happened to the comment? Okay. Okay, let me say my say on this one. Girls need to understand that they also play a role in how men get to behave themselves around them, because let me give you a typical example. And the one year child we will let Mr. Snap. There are men who are
your mic is off, George.
Do you hear me, guys?
Okay.
Okay, sorry for those technical problems. I just wanted to say, Banyana, you also get to play a role in having to give the guys the platform to express their emotions, because there's guys who are still going through that again psychological traumas of how girls got to treat them, but then personally I feel like it boils down to a guy. You cannot go into a relationship and get to present yourself as someone who you are not. Ejo, I'll choose boy, accept that and build on that. If you want to be a better person and have all that money, do that. Go into a relationship, tell your partner or say, baby, like where I come from, like my mother doesn't work, my dad doesn't work also, and the only financial support that I get is only for my ankle, blah, 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 blah. And this is only what I can bring to the table. But then as a guy, I'm really trying to do my best to improve my situation. And if this is something that you cannot truly live with, then I mean, let's just call it quits, because there's nothing that I'm going to bring that you want, right? So those are the kind of things, the kind of trap. You see that, guys, it's not a bad thing to look at someone and be like, I qualify. It's true, bruh. It's okay. Like, it's really okay. If these girls get like as Muchitalo, and you get to you get to set standards, the standard for yourself to say those are standards, right? Then why couldn't they make the same standards? When they get to do that, when you go force, and out and the what's going to happen, you wouldn't be able to sustain what you you presented yourself as into that particular relationship, right? So try to be true to yourself. Do not lie to yourself as Mjita. Joe, there's nothing wrong in having not to have money. If I have you're not 20 rand AU and want to take my girlfriend out, let's just go for an ice cream, go chicken again, then that's it. I cannot afford to go main lane, or you call them all those fancy places that you go to. So, Cecil, I want to bring you in because address this thing. I see Kenneth. So you'll come in after Mr. Cecil. Cecil, just jump in real quick and just point your view. Because
So on the point that both of you have said, no? That you have raised about us giving women money and then them not being satisfied, we should also further emphasize the fact that their dissatisfaction results to socio-economic violence, and that is part of GBV. So they must understand that now they are harassing us because they must be satisfied with that thing. I get correlated as the guy, and then I go, hey, baby girl, you know what? I like the way you look. I like your eyes and all that. I like the calves. I like the way you move and all that. And then one do me, when you want to label, and then also you got Peruvian, like the Peruvian wig. Another thing, I think it's from the comment section, but women are playing their part or have played their part in detriment to open up and all that. I don't think so. If you still have the problem of your men opening up to you, then certainly there's something that you haven't done right. If now I said you are now or we are not opening up, that tells you something. It's either it's the next person or it's you. So you really need to evaluate. But as advising you or open up to you, I would say that you must analyze certain factors, analyze their character. Who is this person that I'm dating, right? Analyze their personality. Analyze, how trustworthy that person is. Because now it happens. Yeah. So
Happiness
just analyze
in the comment section. Guys, I asked for, besides unemployment, what else is affecting South African men's mental health? Happiness.
What else is affecting South African mental health?
Yes.
Okay. Well, can I
the boy crisis resides where fathers don't reside. That is Dr. Warren Farrell. That is one of the reasons that affects men's mental health.
Okay, guys, I have something different, and we've been touching base on it. Some gents or beside money and everything that has to do with finance. As Majita, we like I've spoke about this thing to say we have preferences, to say you want a chick who's shaped this particular way, blah 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 blah, right? And Banyana Lawana, they also have the same thing, and the body shaming is not something that happened within the male species only. Also, women gets to do the same, to say money mamang like like those kind of things. They get to talk about all those sexual stuff. And I can tell you right now, there's that one guy somewhere, somehow, I don't know where, but then I know what I am. Now he must be there, guys, right? You've been intimate with someone, and what what happened is that you couldn't really fulfill their sexual needs. They're going to talk about you, and just like right? They're gonna talk about you that money those things also get to affect the mental health of men, of which is something that lead into women having to cheat on their own men. Because yes, you find the money there, yes, you find I don't know, all those things that you're looking for, but then there's that one thing that you like, right? Those kind of activities we do take really much into consideration to say, if you do not find someone who doesn't fulfill your sexual needs, then what is the point of having to continue with them? But then Banyana get there's those who are opportunistic because when I'll tell it, what do but then they get to do those things with other guys. And as Mujita, sometimes and for the fact that this thing like and and you just get to be blinded by the fact that it means those kind of things, they get to affect you psychologically. And it's too bad what you don't get to talk about these things. But if you're going through such a thing, well, via much thing or say imagines, so much guide technique, so those kind of things, they do matter and it's a huge problem amongst youth, or we do not get to talk about these conversations. As much as we can make jokes about them, they are really serious because they can really break you as a man, like one or what, I'm not enough as a man. So if you get to encounter those kind of things, because we know sometimes we like health-wise, there are those who don't, cheating why. There's platforms like Men's Clinic. Go to those places and seek for help. But then you as women, may you also play a role in having to, if in intimately, just talk to them, or baby, you know what? Try 1, 2, 3. And so if you feel like that's too much, then try to resort to your friends and get to try to seek for help. And yeah, that's one thing that I can also think of beside that one. Chele, it's truly one of the majors amongst this list of issues that we have. Lotanang, Mr. Snepe, I feel like
can I step in?
Okay.
There is a question here.
Granted.
Happiness says that studies show that a lot of people deal with this by abusing alcohol. Is it the chemistry makeup, or there is more to it? Again, Tarolo Mashahomu are, did I misunderstand Mr. Lotanang? Did he say we women sometimes how we behave influence men to create a shell instead of communication? So it's our fault. How will I know my behavior is an issue if you're not communicating it? We women might be the problem. Yes, I agree. But I might not know I'm the problem if you are not telling me.
Okay, Mr. Sadabre, okay, the question is directed to you, and I'm gonna beg you up on this one. Mr. Sise, we must fix the continent now. We have moved to a wider range. South Africa, we are talking about Africa now because we are bay waves and we are trying to fix our continent. Mr. Snap,
ladies, by so saying that
because of sorry, Mr. Snap, before you continue, I just wanted to say to the viewers, we are still watching Bay Waves. Please share the live recording, and we are talking about gender-based violence, relationships, and all that. You may continue.
Yeah. As I was saying, ladies, by me so saying more, sometimes you're the primary factor behind us men not opening up. Like I had given a typical example about money, that if I bring forth 500 rands, if I bring forth 250 rands, and when I no anticipate 500 rands, and you end up saying, King, this is not what I was expecting. Now, that to me, ish, it doesn't only break my heart, but it also breaks, like it brings my self-esteem very low. And okay, give it, and then get on what George has said. One, us as men, we are affected by our social cycles, our friends, but plan. Remember that mindset war na maybe let's say now my mindset it's based on business. Your mindset is based on pornography. So obviously conversations internet gaswan. So if your mindset war it's based on pornography, then that's what we'll be talking about. And this thing would end up boiling up to the thing, or I'm going to give you advices to say, no, this is the position which is relevant. This is the position that which you get that. And then at the end, if you're not overly a failure to implementation, what does it do to my self-esteem? So far we've spoken about two factors, which is the social cycles that we find ourselves in, and also the self-esteem. Not only that, but sometimes you tend to be ignorant to information that is available. Like George has mentioned already, we have your men's clinic, you have your South African Institute of Psychology. Like there's a lot longer, but by ignorant towards. So that one also we are to blame. But to go back to the one, is it Tarolo? Yes, Tarolo. You didn't misunderstand me. When when I said women are sometimes the main factor behind us not opening up, because this mentality of comparison. It's not always here, it's seldom, but you have this mentality of you get that. So how will I open? Because the next time I try to open towards you, then you'll be saying, no, marana na matawaka ore.
Yeah, true that. We are 25 minutes before the hour 9, and you are still listening to Bay Waves Radio. And it's a men's conference. We are addressing the issues that affect men, and we're just trying to, shape up the future of the upcoming generations. And yeah, guys, we have about 10 minutes left right now. We're gonna be closing the comment sections because we are nearing the end of our show. So please make sure to drop those comments before 9:15, so that Mr. Kenneth can bring them to us. I can see you, Mr. Kenneth. So can we just come to you?
Yes, this one is directed to you, Mr. Cecil. Mr. Cecil, Mr. Cecil, we are not analysts. We fail to analyze you. You men are very hard to understand. I now understand him. Boom. Awa, please, we can't get the signals. Communicate with us.
Mr. Cecil,
Yeah.
We used to say women are complicated, and now they're changing the narrative to us to say, guys, come on. We are an open book, like honestly an open book. Mr. Cecil, on that question that has been posed to you.
Ah, man. Sorry. What was the question again? Because Mutula will let you do it.
It is basically about communication, that we are not communicating.
Oh, no, man. It's not. Man, come on. Okay, maybe we men have our own faults as well when it comes to communication, right? But the major thing is, if a robot it means that in time. Honestly speaking, there's no remedy around it. Just communicate. Come on. Just communicate. No pillow talk. I don't know. Something will work eventually. But honestly speaking, that's another thing. You know, there are men who talk about everything. There are men who do not talk at all. That's why I get a check out when is totally reserved, is an introvert, and is forever in their own space. And yet you expect them to pour out their hearts to you at every stage. And that's not possible. That's not who they are. And you went into the relationship and you stayed in that relationship knowing that they are this type of a person. And if they do have an issue, I believe in sitting them down on a table and saying, now, it's time to have that conversation again. We have to be honest with each other. And if I already, I mean, the psychologist and the profession shouldn't just die out. Go consult. Couples counseling.
Yeah. I'd like to agree with you on that. Ne? Agree to disagree. Like, so all right. But then, guys, I should say that before we should get into the habit of having fundamentals and principles for relationships before we can even begin them. Like Lotanan said, you try
that we should have rules.
Not rules. You have preferences, right, in a relationship. When you go in a relationship, speak to your partner to say, right? Because if you do not get to say those things and you get to say them on a later stage, and then get to find out, or these things are something that I do not go with, then you're gonna have a lot of problems. So just try to engage with your partner in the early stages. Because I remember I once had a friend of mine, Ampajaga, the staying already. Yeah, now already they know what when they get married, what's going to happen. They're going to marry in community or not in community. Like those kind of conversations, try to get in the habit of speaking about them with your own partner, so that when something goes wrong, right, you can have a backup or a baby. But we did talk about 1, 2, 3. And even you also know, yes, I did agree to 1, 2, 3. And that will also give you courage, even though it's hard. We know having to open about stuff is not easy, but then have you been the one who set those bases? It will make sure you push yourself and get to let the poor girl know what a and banyana lotananguletse something ya nachomiaka ere boyfriend yone ina leng getting the must. It boils down to that. You understand? So please, like, I don't think I've ever seen it where autibuja ibuja chiria ona ore gape mamang chirias mamang or chiria chumiaga ke monia because we do not want to make you feel insecure, because sometimes it's not really feeling insecure, but then rather sometimes you need to read the situation. I mean, if you're in a relationship with someone knowing what there's certain things that you shouldn't really bring them in. Like you cannot. There must be a boundary on having to speak about certain things. You know what man. Georgia bo aga numpa a 200 child, and then you come to know ke bone healing ya 1.5. How must I respond to that as a guy? Like, what will I get to say to you, right? So have to think about those small things when you are with your man, because it truly affects them psychologically, and this boils down to the poor mental health to men. So please make sure to take those little things into consideration and protect the mental health of your men, and make sure you don't take part in having to play a role. You don't play a role in having to do the social influence in having to have men going through some shady stuff. So please, Mr. Lotana, I can see your hand is up. We have about 18 minutes before we wrap up the show. Mr. Kenneth, if you have any questions in the comment section, please make sure to jump in after Mr. Lotana. So let's just try to wrap up things, and yeah, Mr. Lotana, come in.
Okay. At center level, certain factors that evolve around the male species and the female species. Like I'd mentioned earlier on, or the male species, naturally we are technical. We count, or okay, if I'm home, the doors have to be locked, all windows have to be locked. We hardly ever think about that, because the technicality of it, we always think about we have to protect our clan. However, women have this internal intuition. Oh, Polore, by the time a lady says to you, you know what, it's over, but you best believe that the over part began 3, 4, 5 months ago before it's over. So that's where the internal intuition comes in there. Because now, how do you then try to be technical with someone no longer as a specialist with intuition? So when women are way more complex than men are, check what is the mutual factor in communication. So beyond that, women are not finding anything which is wrong with men apart from communication. However, with women, you have women by longer, she prefers the Gonga lifestyle. And then you have women which prefer the Makaya lifestyle. Levels. But however, men, it's the same. Technicality is the same. We might like protective over what we want to open about. That's where the problem is, right? But for women, yeah, algorithms steadily more. Yeah.
We have about 15 minutes. Mr. Snip, I think I feel like everyone here, my host, my guest is laying out everything out there. What I've pointed out is the matter, it's either the issue of communication, or either just don't just trying to corner your man. Like you can see Oromoto are for the 1, 2, 3, but yet you get to put them in a position where they just cannot handle. So other than that, like we are really trying to bring you forth the issues that we as men get to have problems with. But other than that, they're already saying, guys, start fucking out of pressure. We know what is good for you. like, you cannot love someone and not want to do good things for them, right? Unless if it's one of those relationships where we just vibing. Hence, in the beginning, they did say, try to evaluate the kind of relationship that you are in. Try to question or relationship, what's the motive behind it? Like, guy, are you just in it for it, or you're building up onto something, you want to sustain for the future, right? So we just have a little time left. And what I want to do is just to ask Mr. Kenneth if he has anything in the comment section, and just say it so that we can address it before we get to close the show for tonight. Mr. Kenneth?
Yeah, we have a comment here from Happiness, and she's saying that I've always wondered why they say women are complicated, because it's the other species that is beyond rocket science. And Otarolo Mashahomo is saying we should have men conference more often because she's learning. That's all I have from my side.
Okay, thank you very much for those comments. And guys, make sure that you invite your friends, you share this thing all over your social medias. We're gonna keep on having more engagements so that we can really try to address all these issues, because it is truly these issues that are going to build us to be better people, so that we can have a better future for ourselves and for the upcoming generations, because it's those who come after us who are going to learn from us. So let's make sure we prepare a proper fundamentals and principles for them to learn from. So Mr. Cecil, the time is yours. I feel like you can jump in and say what you want to say before we get to close the show, and then we're gonna go to our guest and also get to hear what he has for closing.
Okay, thank you. Firstly, I would like to address, I think they might have not heard you properly, or do not corner your man. Do not corner your man. I hope I am clear on this one. Do not corner your man. That's busy, do not corner your men. Give them space to breathe. And then another thing is, I do not totally agree with what Lord Donan said when he said male species are technical, as in we do not check what is in the fridge and right? For this point, please hear me out. I think if we are to say men are technical in that regard, it would also mean that we are not intentional about what we do on a daily basis. For one, men are most intentional about the things they do. I get cheat, I'm not cheating because that was intention. I knew what I was doing from the beginning, and then I'll continue doing it. And some advice to, okay, I thought someone was saying something. Some advice to women: if you're not satisfied in bed, get out of the relationship. If there is no communication in your relationship that is up to your satisfaction, get out of the relationship. So Mara, matter of the fact is, you should date people who satisfy you, who make you happy. If you're in a relationship, since we are in 16 days of activism, if you're in a relationship and you feel like this relationship is not working for you, Mara, you do not have to die for another man. You do not have to die for such naive things. Like uduletje chelete, uduletje because out o thoma neng o chaba go thoma fase. Come on. Like I said, this is your earth and this is your hell. You choose.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sisel. Yeah, I little serengisa little man. Yeah. Mr. Lotanang, can I just have your comment in closing the show, what you have to say and what you want to leave our viewers with?
Okay. On a personal perspective, because I grew up ke surroundile ke basadi ba bantši. So myself, I do value women so much that I at times look up to them, because I mean, these people are superheroes. Eh? The things that which they do, they're out of this world. And for me, I will always cherish and appreciate their presence in our lives. Right. So just a small message to the women out there. Always make sure that you come number one prior to anything else. I mean, they always say that God has to come first before you. You can always find God through a man at times, right? But how do you then find God if you haven't found yourself? I mean, even the word of God, love thy friend or thy neighbor just as much as you love yourself. So that shows, or you gotta love yourself, gotta value your life prior to anybody else's life. You have to place yourself before anybody else. It doesn't matter what we should Dubai. In a week we're already in Cape. In a week we're already in wherever. You're having the softest life ever. That's to me, according to me, that's just crap if you're not valuing yourself. Because at the end of the day, when you don't value yourself, I'm definitely going to find that as a weakness towards you. And then if I have that much power, I'd most probably feel as if I own you. That's where the GBV part comes in hand. That men. So we just trying to do away with that.
You can finish up, Mr. Lotanang, just few minutes and wrap up.
We just trying to do away with that. And also to guys, the way we're killing these women out here, it's no longer safe. Because I mean, just last night, on the same street with this other lady, I can see that she was pacing up because she didn't feel comfortable with me behind her. But however, because I had to keep my distance just to make her feel safe, but not safe at the same time. Not being safe because of the surroundings, but safe because my intentions towards her were that of good motives, right? So Bafeti, let's cherish these women. Let's love them as the superheroes that they are. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't be what we are today. So from me, exceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Snapper, for those words of wisdom and those, godly weights. We really do need to hear much. We really need to hear much of those kind of words from ourselves as Majita Klakani. We need to speak about more conversations that are related to this. So from me, George, your host, guys, what I want to say to you is that there is no solution if we keep on running. Relationship, sexual. No, don't do that. Buffet. the tips so because guys, you cannot find perfection in a human being. Us having to be imperfect is really what makes us to be perfect. It's what makes us humans. So Majen I just want to say that if you are a man, right, it doesn't mean you are a strong man if you keep everything into yourself and battle everything only one. That's not a true definition of a strong man. A strong man is someone who is courageous, someone who, you know, bold enough to go to someone and say, bro, I need help. That's a bold man. That's a strong man. And having to keep everything into yourself and dying inside, it's really something that we do not want to condone. So make sure you engage Le Majita, and if Majita you don't find a proper solutions, try to go to someone who's a professional with regards to all the kind of problems that you have. We know what it's not everyone who's well resourced in terms of having to speak to psychologists, but then no worry, those things they cost. They don't cost money, guys. Public hospitals also do have psychologists. Just go there and try to seek for help. And then just make sure on that pillow talk you get to lay everything out. And when like, I feel like you just get that load or out of your shoulders, out of your heart. Make sure you free yourself from all these troubles and all these battles that you're fighting. Only one, you cannot like you cannot fight everything really one. A man is not an animal. A man is as human as a woman, but then we just need to be this guy is always just not satisfied with something, but then it's okay. In 2 minutes we are closing, guys. We really do appreciate for taking your precious time and having to be here with us and engaging with us in trying to resolve all these matters that are affecting us as the youth. We really do appreciate you guys, and we just really like to say, please make sure that you join us same place, same time, and make sure that you get to invite your friends so that we can really have more heads coming in together and giving better solutions to try to resolve all these things that we are coming with. From me, George, your host, and Cecil Lotanang, thank you for being here, guys. Till we meet again next time. Goodbye.
The sole purpose of sex is to climax. If you don't get that, walk out.